That's not indifferent actually, that's a bit more good news, or particularly bad news. That's a fraudulent email. Revenue don't send you emails. There's often going around at the moment saying you may be due a tax refund. The Revenue will never send you one. A, because they're probably going to give you a refund. B, don't reply to those. They are fraudulent. The figure looks great. It's £223.56. That's a believable figure. It's not around some of 500, 600. It's a believable figure. But they are fraudulent. They don't send you emails like that. Don't reply. They just want your bank details. This is Wilkins Southworth Christmas card. We send clients at Christmas. Believe it or not, one of my clients got a revenue inquiry on the day they received it. There is a lot of busy times. When you say 12 months, the 12 months only works if you give complete information to the Revenue. The Revenue have what's called discovery. This client that came to see me, who said, I didn't tell them about my rental income, 12 months is out the window. Discovery means if the Revenue come across something you haven't told them about, if your tax return has been filed with incorrect information, they are not bound by that 12 months. So don't think, great, the 31st of January they can't touch me for last year. It's not correct if you don't give them the right information in the tax return. If you have a source of income that's undisclosed, discovery means they can go through that, they can check it, they can ask you questions, and they go back. I had a client who was a builder, and the Revenue wrote to him and said, we've just found out you've got a bank account in Jersey. And he came in to see me, and I said, what's all this? And he said, no, I haven't got it. And I said, but they've sent me a copy of bank statement here, it's got £200,000 in it. 20 years they've gone back, 20 years to go through his bank statements. That guy will owe a lot more than he ever thought he'd save. And he never saved it because it's fraudulent, because he was putting cash into a bank account. So don't think it's just not worth it, those kind of things. So if you don't declare your tax return, don't fill it in properly, it doesn't work. So I've got some good news somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Now, in this document you've got on your table, I've given you some details on tax cases. People say to me, well, why do you need to look at tax cases? What's that got to do with it? Well, the way it works, and the point is you're saying, what should my accountant be telling me? Well, if you have a set of accounts, it's very subjective. There's no right or wrong set of accounts. You can go to different accountants and get a different set of accounts. What you want from your accountant is to mitigate your tax in the best way possible, to make sure that he can save you as much tax as possible. How he does that is by using case law and by using legislation. And things in your case, like what's called the property income ladder. And all of those get used up, and then hopefully the accountant will give you the best answer at the end of the day. So, what should you be asking your accountant? Well, why don't you start off by asking, what's my tax losses? So, if an accountant, if you get a set of accounts, how do you tell what your tax losses are? So if I've got a set of accounts with a loss of £15,000, what's my tax loss?
About 15,000.
Any ideas? No, I'll give you an answer. The answer is I haven't got a clue. Why? Because your accounting loss, your accounting profit has got no relationship to your tax profit or loss. So don't think, it's not unheard of that you could have an accounting loss and have a tax profit. Why? Well, to give you an idea, things like depreciation are not tax deductible. So they get added back. If you have things like entertaining expenses, it's not necessarily tax deductible. Staff entertaining is up to a maximum of £150. But other than that, you don't get it, not as you used to. So what happens is that you might see a set of accounts and think, that's fantastic, happy days, 15 grand loss. But then you get a tax bill. So you should be asking your accountant, well, thanks very much, you're really kind. But in your situation, I would be saying, well, A, what is my directed loan account? I want that as big as possible. Because that is money I can take out of the business tax free. So if you've got a credit on your directed loan account, not unheard of for some of our PVP clients to have 160 grand. That's 160 grand you can take out of the company tax free. So, number one question. Number two, what is my tax loss? Why are you interested in that? Well, that means that loss can be carried forward to next year. I've got a loss of 150 grand. That means that next year I won't pay corporation tax unless my taxable profits exceed 150. So that defers your obligation to pay corporation tax. So don't be afraid of asking your accountant that, because your accountant could give you a set of accounts that have a loss. The question is it a big loss? Could it have been bigger? Has he put his thinking cap on? If he hasn't, then why not? Because you might save a couple of bob by going to an unqualified person, it might give you a loss, but the question is, could it have been bigger? Don't be afraid to ask him. Say, look, how is this made up? What else can I do? What have you done with the figures that I've incurred? Where have you put them? Balance sheet, profit and loss. The ones in the balance sheet, how do I get tax relief on those? How am I getting tax relief? Will I ever get tax relief? What form of tax relief? Ask him. You might want to ask him also, has he ever dealt with a revenue inquiry? If something does go wrong, when you start asking, can he answer the questions? Don't be afraid to ask that, because if an accountant is happy, in our case we maximise the loss wherever possible, if you're confident in your abilities to do that, then you shouldn't be afraid of a revenue inquiry. Revenue inquiries happen, it's part of the job. That's what happens. If you then have a problem with the revenue, what do? Well, you argue it with them, and if push comes to shove, they don't accept your contentions, then what you could do is you can go to what's called the General Commissioners. General Commissioners are now called a body called the First Tier Tribunal. What you'll find is the case law you've got in your manual, First Tier Tribunal level, if you can show that you've got a case that is already being decided on, then the revenue have to follow that case because it's already been decided. So what you see in the pack there is a letter from a chap that I've never ever met, General Commissioners. So in this case, we had disagreement with the revenue. The revenue said that we prepared the accounts wrong because they didn't agree the basis we'd used, the precedents we'd used. So therefore, it was challenged. If we could have said, okay, I agree, my client will pay 50 grand. We weren't inclined to do that. If you disagree with the revenue in those days, this is in 2005, you go to the General Commissioners. The General Commissioners is a lay body. You put your case. In this case, they have a revenue barrister, they have the revenue inspector, me and a client. And it's an open forum. So that means that the public can sit at the top and listen. This chap did, and he read that letter. So you can do that, and don't be afraid of asking your accountant, look, if there is a revenue inquiry, what do? Do you buckle under? Do you fight it? How do you fight it? Because just because they question it, doesn't mean to say you've got it wrong. There's always two arguments. You've got to make sure your argument is stronger. So just say, do you do this? Are you prepared to do it? Have you ever had any revenue inquiries? Have you ever been to General Commissioners, First Tier Tribunal? How did you one? What they on your loss. So that's the type of thing you might want to ask your accountant. Capital gains tax, PPR relief. What is PPR? What does it stand for?
Principal private residence.
Principal private residence. Thank you very much, Catherine. What is a principal private residence? Any ideas? Correct? Where you live. Good point, where you live. So, if I live in a rented house, is it my principal private residence? Yes, correct. If I then go and buy another house, and I then subsequently sell it, and live in my rented house, is that house free from capital gains tax?
No.
Why? Correct. What you'll find is a lot of case law where people don't accept that. The reason is because you can make a lot of money on properties. The revenue think they lose £120 million on incorrect PPR reliefs. That's what you probably know the term as flipping. Flipping is what the MPs do. As far as I'm concerned, I reckon the MPs alone probably use 120 million. That's about anything else. That's chicken feed, I can tell you. Flipping is where you can elect other properties. So, simple example, a guy lives in Cheltenham, works in London. So he works in London perhaps 3 days a week. So he lives in his London flat, goes back at the weekend to Cheltenham where the family are. He's got 2 properties, which is his PPR? Yeah. Which one does he want his PPR? You make an election. You can make an election within 2 years of buying a second property. Why do you want to do that? If you want to make an election, what that means is perhaps the Cheltenham property is your PPR. That means that London property is subject to capital gains tax at a rate of probably 28%. The lower rates are 18, but it's unlikely to be 18 given quantum. Anything we can do to refine that, make it better, do you think? Any tweaks? How about I make the London property, his principal residence for 7 days? You think 7 days? Where does that get us? Because I've still got my Cheltenham property in Gloucester, probably that's free. So what's the point of making London property for 7 days? The benefit is 7 days are free for capital gains tax, that's neither here nor there. The property being your PPR for any period, in the period of ownership, the last 3 years, free from capital gains tax. Legal tax avoidance, that is actually on the revenue website, that one. They tell you how to do it. And people say to me, well, why is it MPs only do flipping? It's just because MPs do it a lot. Anyone can do it. You can do those. We've got some clients with 6 properties. So that's because you own it. If your other property was rented out, you can't do that because it's not available to be your PPR. So in this case, a guy has 1 property in London, 1 in the country. If he rents one out and lives in the other one, he hasn't got the option to do that because it's not available for his use. It can't be his PPR. Loads of legislation on this. A lot of it pre-1965. Why? Because that's when capital gains tax came in. So before that, you may have avoided things altogether. This type of case that we've got here is the type of one where people may buy a property, have it for a short period, sell it, and then what happens is that they will then claim it as their PPR. That's exactly the type of thing that the revenue came in. Because being your PPR has a lot of restrictions to it. When I say restrictions, the revenue look at your degree of permanence, quality of occupation, the period of occupation. So it doesn't work that you can actually just buy a property, live in it for a couple of months and sell it. Because the degree of occupation was that you was never going to be a permanent residence. The period of ownership is too short for that. So you need a longer period. And what some people do is they try and fabricate the circumstances. And that's when you trigger revenue inquiries.